Hello everyone. Now in this video section we are solving one more problem which is based on the conversion of a given Moore machine to its equivalent Mealy machine. We are solving so many problems because in this subject if we are practicing more and more the problems, okay, so we can understand the topic or the concept in a very well and effective manner. So for this purpose we are solving one more problem. Now we know that whenever we are trying to convert a given Moore machine to its equivalent Mealy machine, we first need to see what kind of question, what kind of description given in the question. So as per the question, construct equivalent Mealy machine for the given Moore machine, and we have the transition diagram given here. Okay, so if we have the transition diagram to be specified in the question, so we just need to specify in the solution first. We first write the description or the definition corresponding to all the tuples belongs to this machine. Okay, so we first need to define the 6 tuples. Okay, so the 6 tuples for the above Moore machine. Okay, now what are these 6 tuples we have here in this machine given? So you can see the capital Q, which represents the set of states. So how many states we have in this machine? We have Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, 5 states. So we just need to specify here all these states here as a Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 here. Okay, so this is what we call the set of states belongs to the given machine. Then the next is we just need to specify the initial state. So in this machine we have the initial state as a Q0. Okay, so we can say Q0 is the initial state given in this machine. Okay, so this is what we call the initial state. Then the summation, which represents a set of input alphabets here. So what are the input alphabets? We can see here in the on the transitions we have the types of symbols here. We have two types of symbols called 0 and 1. So we can say we have the input alphabets as 0 and 1. Okay, this is what we call the set of input alphabets. Okay, then the output alphabets, what are the different output alphabets given in this machine? So the symbol which is used to specify as per the formal definition, the symbol we are using here is we can say the output alphabets here. You just check on the states. Okay, what kind of states we have here? We have 5 states, and we can see we have two different types of symbols here, 0 and 1. So the output symbols are also 0 and 1. Okay, now the set of output symbols is represented with the capital del. Okay, then the other two symbols, we have 4 symbols to be specified here. The other two symbols, we know that it is nothing but called the transition function. Okay, and lambda, which represents the output function. Okay, so we need to we can specify these two tuples with the help of the transition table here. Okay, so I'm drawing the transition table corresponding to the given machine. The next step, that the structure of just write down the heading here first. Construct the transition table of the Mealy machine, which is of the Mealy machine, which is given in the question. Okay, so the transition table corresponding to this transition diagram. You know that how many columns are there in a Mealy machine's table? We have 4 basic columns. Okay, one for the present state. The last column is for representing the outputs. Okay, this one is representing the output values. And here we have a specification for the next states corresponding to the input values. So we have the input alphabets as a 0 and 1. You can say 1 for the 0 and the another one is 1. Okay, now this column is for outputs corresponding to the states, and here we have the present state. Okay, now how many states we have in this machine? So we can see Q0 state, Q1 state, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So we have these 5 states. Okay, now I'm just completing this table here. For Q0 state, and the corresponding output is the state we can see 0. So for Q0 state the output is 0. For Q1 output is 0 again. So for Q1 output is 0, Q2 output is 0. So just write down 0 here. Q3 1. So just write down 1. Q4 1. So we have 1. एक्चुअली मूरे मशीन में हम जो आउटपुट्स हैं वो हम देख सकते हैं, जो हम स्पेसिफाई करते हैं, जो इसका रिप्रेजेंटेशन है वो ये कहता है कि आउटपुट जो है वो स्टेट के साथ रिप्रेजेंट किया जाता है. सो वी कैन सी हियर sorry, the Q0 state having output 0, Q1 state having output 0, Q2 is 0, Q3 is 1, Q4 is 1. So these are the corresponding outputs of the present states. Now the transitions are, जल्दी से हम ट्रांजिशंस लिख लेते हैं गिवन मशीन के लिए. सो वी हैव हियर ट्रांजिशन फॉर Q0 स्टेट फॉर 0 and 1, it goes to Q1 and Q2 respectively. Now for Q1 state 0 self loop, and for 1 it goes up to Q3. Now Q2 for 0 it goes to Q4, and for 1 it is Q2. So for 0 it transit up to the Q4 state, and for 1 it is Q2 itself. Then Q3 state for 0 transit over to Q4, and for 1 it transit over to Q2. Now Q4 state for 0 it moves towards the Q1 state, and for 1 move towards the Q3 state. Now, and this is what we call the transition table representation of the given Mealy machine. Now we need to convert it into the equivalent. Construct the equivalent transition table of the required Mealy machine, यानी कि उस Mealy machine की ट्रांजिशन टेबल हम बना रहे हैं जो हमें क्वेश्चन में पूछी गई है. Okay, so for this again I'm drawing the table structure for first. So we have, you know that we have 5 columns here, one for the present states, the next state, the input values, and the corresponding state with its output. Okay, so you can see we can divide it into two parts. Then again okay, so to solve these kind of problems we must know what is the tabular structure of both of these machines called Moore machine and Mealy machine. Okay, now this is what we call present state. Here it is. The next state, for the input called 0, and the another input is 1. Okay, and the next state will be specified here, and its corresponding transition, so corresponding output for the transitions we have here. Now we have these states as a Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So these are the possible states we have. Okay, so you can see these are the possible number of states we have. The required Mealy machine. Okay, now so first we can fill this table and we'll come to the transition diagram. So for this you can see at Q0 state for 0, Q1. Okay, so at Q0 state, which is the initial state for Q0 state, at 0 transition goes to Q1 state, and the corresponding output of Q1 state, we have the output of Q1 state is 0, so we just need to specify 0 here. At Q0 state for 1, Q2 state, and the output corresponding to Q2 state we have here is 0, so just write down 0. Okay, now at Q1 state the transition is at Q1, for 1 it is Q3, Q2, for 0 it is Q4, for 1 it is Q2. so transitions जो हैं वो सेम रहेंगे, बस जो आउटपुट्स हम स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं वो जो है हम इन स्टेट्स के करस्पॉन्डिंग जो आउटपुट्स आएंगे हम उनको जो है यहाँ स्पेसिफाई करेंगे. ओके, सो यू कैन सी एट Q3 state, for Q3 state you can see Q4 and Q2, Okay, so Q4, Q2. So just specifying Q4, Q2. Now at Q4 state Q1, Q3. So just Q1 and Q3. Now the corresponding outputs of these states we have at Q1 state we have the output as you can see at Q1 state the output corresponding to the Q1 state is 0. So just write down 0. At Q3 state, for Q3 state the output is 1. So just write down 1. So ऐसे ही हमें सारी स्टेट्स के लिए लिख लेना है. Q4 स्टेट का आउटपुट क्या है? Q4 के करस्पॉन्डिंग आउटपुट है 1 और Q2 के करस्पॉन्डिंग आउटपुट है 0. So just write down 0. Q4 के लिए 1, Q2 के लिए 0. Okay. Now Q4 for Q1 sorry Q1 के लिए आउटपुट था हमारा Q1 स्टेट के करस्पॉन्डिंग आउटपुट था 0. सो यहाँ भी हम वही करेंगे. Q1 के करस्पॉन्डिंग आउटपुट है 0. सो वी जस्ट नीड टू स्पेसिफाई द आउटपुट एज 0. Q3 के लिए वी हैव 1. सो जस्ट स्पेसिफाइंग 1 हियर. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल्ड आवर आंसर, द ट्रांजिशन टेबल, द करस्पॉन्डिंग ट्रांजिशन टेबल ऑफ द रिक्वायर्ड मिली मशीन. अब आप चाहें तो इस ट्रांजिशन टेबल को देखकर इसके करस्पॉन्डिंग now our next step is to construct the transition diagram corresponding to this transition table. So we can see here the transition diagram. The next step is construct the transition or the state diagram. Okay, so we know that we have how many states are there in this machine. We have 5 states. Q0, okay, Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So these are the 5 states we have in this diagram. Okay. Now we just need to complete the transitions over this diagram. For this we just need to refer to this table of Mealy Machine. So actually we are converting this table to the diagram. Okay, so now Q0 state, for Q0 state 0 का ट्रांजिशन Q1 पर है. Okay, corresponding output है 0. So just specify 0. Q0 पर 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q2 पर है. 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q2 आउटपुट Q2 के करस्पॉन्डिंग 0 आ रहा है. सो 0. नाउ Q0 पर सॉरी Q1 स्टेट पर 0 का ट्रांजिशन Q1 पर ही है. सेल्फ लूप आउटपुट है 0 0. नाउ Q1 पर 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q3 पर है. Q1 पर 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q3 स्टेट पर जा रहा है. सो 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q3 आउटपुट है Q3 पर 1. देन Q2 स्टेट Q2 पर 0 का ट्रांजिशन Q4 आउटपुट इज 1. 0 का ट्रांजिशन Q4 आउटपुट इज 1. ओके, एंड देन 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q2 पर ही है सेल्फ लूप और आउटपुट जो है वो है 0 0. देन Q3 स्टेट पर 0 का ट्रांजिशन 1 Q4 पर और आउटपुट है 1. सो 0 का ट्रांजिशन यहाँ आएगा, आउटपुट है 1. जैसे Q3 पर 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q3 पर 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q2 आउटपुट है 0. सो जस्ट स्पेसिफाई 0 हियर. नाउ एट Q4 स्टेट 0 का ट्रांजिशन है Q1 पर और आउटपुट है 0. सो Q4 पर Q1 0 का ट्रांजिशन, writing here the input and its corresponding output is 0 also. Now Q4 1 का ट्रांजिशन है Q3 Q4 1 का ट्रांजिशन Q3 और आउटपुट है 1. 1 का ट्रांजिशन है Q3 और आउटपुट है 1. Okay, so this is what we call the transition diagram corresponding to the transition table of Mealy Machine. Okay, so we can say we have this machine given in the question. Okay, so we have this machine given in the question, and we have converted this machine to its equivalent. This is what we call the machine given, and we have converted it into the equivalent machine of the Mealy machine. Okay, thank you.